Happy Friday, everybody. I see a lot of you guys in the back in the office there. If we can close that door so I don't hear myself echo, that'd be awesome. But happy Friday, everybody. For you guys that are new in our team, new in our organization, I know we have people logging in from other markets. I'll tell you guys, I started this YouTube channel about a year and a half ago. It's a KLear channel, KLear. I know, Eric, I see you sitting there front row with your jersey on. If you could turn around and point and kind of poke at some of your friends that are new on our staff, pull out your cell phones right now, pull them out, go to YouTube and type in KLear channel, KLear channel. You'll see my face. I think we have close to 700 subscribers now across the country. Which is pretty cool. It's growing, week over week. And the whole idea here, guys, is listen, I'm inviting people onto this YouTube channel that are entrepreneurs, that are business people, that are athletes, people from different industries. And the whole idea is to help share great information, great people, and help you guys level yourselves up in life and in business. And I'm really excited that we have Colleen on today. So Colleen, I'm gonna pin our videos here so you and I can chat. Let's see here. So first of all, Colleen, thank you for jumping on this morning. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, let's go.
So obviously, Colleen, you have a background in entrepreneurship. You run a company now. You started running that company in your 20s. Do you mind just telling us a little bit about life, your upbringing, your background, so people can get to know you?
Yeah, of course. So I am the daughter of a special ed teacher and a government worker. So I don't know if anybody on the call has parents who have very steady kind of lifestyles, if you will. I grew up in a really small town in Oregon called Klamath Falls. Has anybody in the call ever heard of it? See, there's nobody raising their hand, and you'll never go there. That's just the reality of it. So I grew up in a small town, made the decision post high school graduation to go to college, and I studied English there, and thought I was going to become a high school teacher. And in my senior year, I got the opportunity to go shadow the lifestyle of a teacher for a good amount of time, and I realized that wasn't going to be a good fit for me. There's too much bureaucracy involved, and what I really wanted to do was help people, and I thought teaching would be something that would allow me the ability to do that. And there was just too many restrictions. So I made a decision to post-graduation to go live in Alaska for a portion of time. Has anybody here been on a cruise ship? Nobody? Let's see here. Have you? Okay.
I have, yeah. I've been on,
a cruise ship. Whenever you go dock, there's these little booths that are set up where you can buy tours of the city you're in for that day. And I was one of those. Yeah. I was really bad at it. That was my first exposure to sales. I sucked. But it was a really good experience with independence. So when I came back to Oregon, I realized that I didn't want to be in my small town anymore. So I made a decision to move to Denver, Colorado. For me, there was just three things that I was looking for at 23. I wanted to be part of a place where I could have a good culture, a place where there was growth opportunities, and a place where I could earn a competitive paycheck. I'd never really been in a position where I could work one job and be able to pay all my bills and still have money. So I was used to working 2 or 3 jobs all the time. And I really chance found our business, and I fell in love with the culture first. And then I really enjoyed how much money I was able to make from just one source of income. And then I started to grow as a person, which led me to be confident that I could become a leader. And I started to connect the dots that this industry was something that would allow me the ability to help people just in a very different way. So I would still be able to do some of the things that I want to do, that I knew I wanted to do, like being a teacher, but in just a more profitable way. And so it's, now led me all over the country. I started when I was 23, I'm 31 now. So I've gotten to run offices in Denver, Vegas. I lived in Virginia Beach for a portion of time. And now I'm here in Nashville. So that's a little bit about my background.
Awesome. So tell me, so you by the way, the Alaskan cruises, my parents went on an Alaskan cruise. So were you in Anchorage or somewhere? Or where were you actually?
Juneau. I was in Juneau. I was in the place that's locked in, right? So there's only 40 miles of highway in Juneau. Fun fact. And the only way you get out of Juneau is by plane or boat, because there's glaciers that surround the entire city. So
Wow.
it was a very unique experience. I learned a lot from that independence. There was literally like no way getting home, pretty much.
Yeah, no way out.
No, not really. So, but it was a great
That's
experience of independence more than anything else. The salesmanship I learned there was not very good. I really sucked. So I was really hesitant when I first started in our industry because of that.
Yeah.
So I was really appreciative of all the training that I got and the kind of support systems that makes the biggest difference in somebody finding success.
Yeah, it's interesting you say. So you had this experience before that it didn't go your way in sales, dealing with people. Then you get in our business where a lot of things are uncomfortable,
right?
And sales being something you just did and you didn't feel you were that good at, and then you do well at this. You mentioned the training. I'm curious about like the mindset. Why did you do it again? Right? Like, what was it like? You just, I think sometimes people are like, they do something that they don't normally try it again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So why did you try it again?
Yeah, I think it's easy in life to be jaded by one experience. So when I got to Denver, I'd worked different jobs. I worked at a restaurant, I worked for a nonprofit, and I had these other experiences that kind of showcased to me what a work environment would feel like. And it was very negative. And so I got a little negged out when I was looking for a job in Denver, because I was like, man, when you become an adult, is this what it feels like? Does everybody hate their life? Does everybody hate coming to work? Does everybody complain about how they're never getting promoted? Like, that's what it felt like being 23, coming into the workplace, right? And some of you might even have experienced that prior to meeting the company, going on job interviews, working at places, seeing what, adults who have been there for 10 years are acting like, and being like, man, shit, maybe I should just go back to college at this point. And that's where I was at. And I went on an interview. I didn't really know what we did, but I loved the energy and I loved the cultural aspect. And the guy who interviewed me was cool and he was younger. And I went to an office night before I started and I could see that the morale was high. People enjoyed what they were doing. And so for me, even though I knew it was going to be sales, and even though I was going to be doing something that I wasn't very confident I was good at, especially based off of past experience, I had enough other experience to know I couldn't fuck this up. I was like, man, these are the most motivated, energetic people that I've met in my experience in Denver so far. So if I don't master these skills, I'm just going to end up like all these other men and women who are in positions they don't enjoy. So I put it on myself to just earn the opportunity to be part of a place where people enjoyed themselves so much. That was really the skin I had in the game and I was new to a city. I wanted to make friends, and these were the kind of people I wanted to make friendships with. So that's what kept me pushing through that discomfort, was just seeing the bigger picture of this. Is like, there's got to be something to this if there's this many people excited about where they're going.
Awesome. And so, obviously through this path of you, how long did it take you to get in through the sales piece of the business where you got promoted to more of a leadership role? Was it something that kind of came quickly, or did you have to really work at it?
Yeah, the field is not very complicated. I think the two things that my parents bestowed upon me that I'm very proud of and very grateful for was how to work hard when nobody's looking, and how to keep a great mindset about what I'm doing. So if I'm going to be doing something, I might as well have fun while I'm doing it. That's really the mentality that I was raised with. And so those are the two qualities that any human being can leverage when they start in our business. Now, everybody's going to fall on a spectrum of it, of how competent they are at either the attitude piece, which is remaining positive, seeing the good in everything, or the work ethic piece, really being somebody who has high levels of self-management. I was fortunate. I came in with those two things being not as defined as they are now, but in a good place for me to find success right away, paired with the training and the support. So I was able to pick up the field very quickly because I didn't need somebody looking over my shoulder to make sure I was actually talking to customers. And if I was going to be out there talking to customers, I was going to have fun while I was doing it. So I didn't take myself too seriously about what we were doing, which really let me find success in the field quickly.
Nice. It's interesting because I was the opposite.
Oh yeah.
I agree that my parents were the same. They taught me about attitude and mindset, but I'm competitive.
Oh yeah, were you doing
so I'm like, fuck, when things don't go my way at like 2, 3 o'clock, I'm like a few hours in, I'm like, this guy's next to me, they're doing all these sales. I'm like, they're not that good.
Yeah.
I should be as good as them, although I've been doing it for like 2 minutes, right?
Right.
And they've been doing this for months. So yeah, I'm just super, super competitive.
Yeah.
So tell me, if you were new today, first week in this sales opportunity, what would you tell yourself now 5-10 years later? What would you say to yourself?
Yeah, I think I'd say, take what I'm doing seriously. So have a lot of effort behind maximizing what people are asking me to maximize. And pair that up with not taking myself too seriously. When I look back in the business and I think about the times that I had the most emotional turbulence, it's always been because I had been taking myself too seriously. One of the best parts about our business is that you can put all the pressure on the systematic part of this and see results, whether you're in the sales side of it or you're in a leadership side of it, right? It's just a numbers game. It's law of averages. And what we can start to do is, especially as we're gaining self-awareness, we can start taking credit for all of these successes, and we can start taking fault for all of the natural things of business. And that's where we put all the pressure on ourselves and we start taking ourselves way too seriously, and it stops being fun. And one of the phrases in our business is have fun, make money. And when that fun starts to fade, it's really typically because somebody's taken themselves too seriously. And I went through very, moments of that, and I still do. My whole intention is just to get more self-aware so I can bridge the gap. But I think that's something I'd say to myself early on is like, listen, business is going to have its seasons. And so the only difference is how you're going to feel about it despite all of the seasons. And if you're going to be on the ride of life anyway, you might as well have fun, Colleen. That would be the one thing I would tell myself, right? And it's something I talk about often with my team is, hey, creating that awareness. And am I really taking this too seriously? Am I having as much fun in this moment as I could be? Am I being as joyful as I could be? Because it's just as easy to be joyful as it is to be negative or to be self-deprecating. So that'd be the biggest piece of advice I'd give to myself.
Nice. And so as you start growing in this opportunity, you start training people, mentoring people, responsible for other people. Any big challenges in the leadership side, like any changes you had to make, anything that just was like, oh man, and you struggled at that you had to kind of break through?
Yeah, the field came easy to me, right? But the leadership side, really, I was very unaware of. I think two things. I was unaware that people are looking at my behavior. Like that's just not something I even fucking thought about at any point in my life. So when I came into this, right, I wasn't used to cleaning my car. I had a messy room. Like I was the kind of girl who did my laundry and then all of the clean clothes sat in the bin. And then how you knew if it was clean or dirty is because if it was on the floor, it was dirty, right? I didn't put them away. I didn't make my bed. I was the fun one. So I would just say anything that came to my mind. I had absolutely no filter, which made me a ton of fun in the office, but not the person that you want to follow as far as, expand with and create a career with. Right. So I was really unaware of how my example mattered to people. And I think that goes into not knowing that I'm that important. I think that's something that I see a lot of people do is they don't understand how important they are to a lot of people. And so I struggled with leadership, creating that awareness piece. And my coaches had a lot of patience with me as I was learning how to become somebody who actually cared about the example that they were setting and who believed that they were somebody worth following. Because I think that when somebody has that belief piece, the other pieces come a lot more naturally. So yeah, leadership was probably my biggest struggle, honestly. And pair that up with me taking myself too seriously at times. I mean, that's where a lot of the turbulence came. And once I started to understand that I could have fun while I was doing this and that I could be a good example without being too serious, that's when things started really creating a lot more rhythm with my team and then my business.
Nice. Yeah, it's interesting you say that. So I felt like I remember when Michael sat me down, who's obviously
Uh-huh.
my coach, and I was about 4 months into this opportunity, and I although other people were growing around me, I wasn't growing. I wasn't responsible for a lot of people, and he gave me this laundry list of things I was doing. And I said, I'm just ready. I want to be in management. I want to lead. I want to be responsible for other people. And he said, "Oh, have a seat. We're gonna chat a little bit." And 45 minutes later, when he went through all these things, like going back to Penn State and partying all weekend and driving back to the office at 3 a.m. Monday morning and being hungover on a Monday probably isn't going to help you be very aware and coherent to coach people, so, but hey, it
Yeah.
was fun.
Yeah.
It was
I
a lot
get
of fun.
that, and there's this point in life where maturity starts to happen and somebody's making the decisions now of if the identity they had last year really is the identity they want to take with them into this year. And I think part of maturity is understanding you always have that freedom of choice. Who you were doesn't dictate who you are right now. And who you are right now isn't going to dictate who you're going to become, as long as somebody's aware enough to choose the identities that are going to serve them as they're on this new path, as they're creating their life. So I totally get that.
Nice. So tell us about, so you moved around, so you became an entrepreneur. How old were you?
I was 25 when I opened up my first office. Yeah.
Your first company. So
Yeah.
25, last 5 or 6 years, because you said you're in your early 30s. You've been running a company. Obviously, running a business is not easy. You got all these different hats you have to wear. Sometimes you're in helping people in sales. Sometimes you're looking at administration. Sometimes you're looking at recruiting practices. So many things, so many spinning plates, right?
Uh-huh.
What do you like most about entrepreneurship? And then what is maybe a big challenge of entrepreneurship?
Well, my gut says it's the same thing for me, which is freedom. I think that there is freedom without maturity is chaos, right? And so there's portions of our life where we have the maturity to handle the freedom. And then there's portions of times that we're learning lessons to gain more maturity so that we can really maximize the freedom. And I think that that's something I've consistently had to learn as a person. Even when I was in the field has a ton of freedom. It does. Nobody's watching you. Right? Nobody's managing if you're actually talking to customers or if you're on your phone. That responsibility is for you to have the maturity to do something with that freedom. Right? And it's the same shit running an office, right? Nobody is watching me to make sure that I'm doing the things that are going to help grow my teams and grow my business. And there's times that I'm doing great at that I'm really aware that this freedom could be taken away from me at any point in time if I don't manage it. And then there's times that I'm really unaware. But that's what I really like the most. It's on me. I love that about our business because I watched my parents go to work every day and have no control of their destiny. I watched our family receive the same paychecks for however many years, 18 years while I was in that household, and post 12 years past that point. Till they retired a couple years ago. And I watched them have so much dissatisfaction by not being in control, by not being able to choose who they work with, by having to put up with the bureaucracy of the educational system, and had to play by rules that don't make sense for that local, the local branch or the local school. And so I understand where the opposite of freedom is what they've got. So I want to take advantage of that as much as I can, this opportunity where I can shape where it goes. And again, what I've found is as I get more mature, I get better and better at really understanding how to do that well, but it's a challenge. And I think that's the fun part about it. It gets to be such a progressive career path as opposed to just a kind of a clock in, clock out, nothing changes opportunity. Nice.
And to be clear, you've been number one on most of the campaigns you've ever been on.
Yeah,
for everyone that doesn't know, you've done fantastic in running and setting the pace for these massive companies. Like Spectrum was a big client of yours for a while, right? You're obviously working with. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Yeah, we I've worked with, when I was in the field, I worked with CenturyLink. First office I was with Verizon. We worked with Xfinity, Spectrum. I've been consistently in the top 5. Our offices have been since I started. So it's driving me crazy getting to the point where we are in EDM. There's some heavy hitters, right? So we have some real growth that growth that we'll have to do to get there, but I have total faith we will. It's just a matter of being aggressively patient, if you will, but.
Yeah, no. And to give you guys an idea of what that means. So just kind of, do you mind sharing raw numbers? So what's the biggest, in the field, let's say, what's the biggest week you've had in the field?
The biggest week I had in the field, I believe it was $1,200. I was never, what's so funny is like the amount of money, I talk about this all the time. The amount of money somebody can make on in the field now is insane. I have men and women in my office who make $2,000 every week. And I just think that there's such beauty in that, because so my husband's in car sales, right? He works 80 plus hours a week and he makes about $125,000 to $150,000 a year. Okay. I have somebody in my office, his name is Josh Melton. He's consistently in the top 10, who makes about $2,000 to $2,500 every week, on pace with what my husband does. And he works 45 hours a week. I just think that's insane. So like the amount of opportunity on this program that I see, that every man and woman on the call and out there in the field has, is crazy. Because when I had that $1,200 week in the field, like that was mind blowing. All right. That was a great week. And I have people here who make that without even trying that hard. It's almost like, that's kind of the catch 22 is that, as our programs make more money, people can get okay with making $1,000 a week when there's really so much more meat on the bone for their lifestyle and for helping them create some financial freedoms in their 20s that, I really didn't have as a rep. I don't know if you did. So that was my biggest week as a rep. I think the biggest wire I've ever had was 45,000 on Black Friday. So, running an office. So, but yeah, there's just so much opportunity. You must feel the same way seeing some of these guys and girls paychecks and some of the things that they're doing out in the field.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. We ran out, we give out happy Gilmore checks and people make over $1,000, and we ran out of them like 2 weeks ago. We just got the delivery in. So we're going to hand out some today.
Right.
And, we did high rollers yesterday. We had a couple offices visiting, right? So we had some Cincinnati, Corey Capone and a couple of my guys were here. And I think there's like 25 people on the high roller sheet.
Dude,
and the top 10 were between 500 and 900 yesterday.
Yeah.
And, but hey, I'm happy, right? I'm happy for them. I think
totally.
But to your point, it's interesting, the evolution of opportunities, right? As things happen, we're working hard to make things even more profitable in the field and also in management. And you'll hear about some of that stuff this weekend, so it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But very cool. So it's about 10:23 or so. So just kind of to wrap this all up and put a bow on it. So tell me, I mean, you've done well in business. Obviously, it's a challenge, right? Nothing worthwhile is going to be easy.
Yeah.
I mean, a $45,000 wire. I mean, you profited 20 grand in a week. Running an office, right? That's pretty sick. What have you fun things for yourself? Fun things for family? Travel? What do you do for fun? When you hit a goal, anything you've done, spoiled yourself a little bit? Anything fun?
Well, so I think when I was going through the field, right? Because again, we talked a lot about taking myself too seriously. And one of the things that I would always think about was creating opportunities for me and my family. And my sister took the same path as my mom and my dad. So she's a teacher, right? And as I started getting older in the business, I started to realize that there are men and women out there who are in their late 20s, early 30s, 40s, who can go do cool things and to live this, to go create experiences. And they're not usually teachers. And so one of the things I used to connect the dots with is that there's going to be things my family can't do if we all take that path. And my sister had mentioned when I was in the field that she wanted to go to Ireland. Like that was like kind of like her dream. And I remember going into the field, talking to customers and always having in the back of my mind that was going to be something I was going to create for us together. Because the likelihood of her doing it is still very low. She'd have to save for years to be in a position to drop $5,000, $10,000 to make a worthwhile vacation for herself. And my first year in running a business, after I bonused myself out a shit ton of money, the first thing I did was buy a plane ticket for her and myself and for us to go to Ireland for 2 weeks. And that was her graduation present from me. I was 25 doing that. I actually think I had turned 26. And all of the time in the field, all of the no's were worth that one experience. I've done cool things since, for sure. But I share that story because when you're in the midst of the challenge, sometimes you forget where the summit is. You forget what the goal is. And I get it. I'm a hiker. All right. That's why I moved to Denver, Colorado right. And did the
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Huge hiker. I was granola for a big portion of my life. A little bit more of a hipster than I am now. But, I think when you're hiking a mountain, there's so much excitement when you first start because you can see the summit. It's so exciting. It's a very thrilling experience. But what happens when you get in the midst of the trail is you're in the amidst the tree line. So you can't see shit. I mean, it's really just like one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. And I think a lot of people get lost in that path because they stop seeing the summit. And that's, again, but getting to that summit is like makes all the kind of difference in getting to the next summit. So like that, creating that experience for my sister was worth all of that time in the field, right? Having those 2 weeks was worth all of that 2 years of building up to that momentum point. Getting to do some of the things I've done with my husband, getting to live in some of the places that I live, getting to take care of my family in a way I take care of them, getting to not be stressed about money, to have a really good relationship with money. Every milestone is worth all of the persistence in between. So, I think that'd be the one thing I'd share as far as goals go, because I think that's something everybody can relate with. If I had to guess, there's people on this call who have somebody in your life that you want to give back to for all of the love that they've given to you. You want to give them love in some special way. And the persistence that you have to create that special moment is so worth it, as long as you're willing to keep putting one foot in front of the other. And then you get to that top and have that experience. And then you just get to pick different experiences that you're going to start working towards now and have to go through that motions for, but it's all worth it in the end. It's
awesome. It's awesome. Totally agree. It's interesting because you mentioned hiking and doing that. I can tell because your emotions, I can see your emotions in your face and how you speak, right, and how exciting that is for you. I feel exactly the same way about soccer and US soccer and World Cup soccer. As you know, like I do a bunch of things with people and I'm going to a game on Sunday in Orlando for the US team. And I couldn't agree more. And it's interesting because when you think of goals, in my opinion, my number one goal is to be a great dad and a great husband. And I'm sure you're pretty similar family. My number two goal is to be a silly, successful business person, to take care of my number one and take care of my people and my organization. And I'll share with you just a little story from this morning. I was really proud. So my wife and I obviously have 2 boys, and I think you obviously know Sarah. But the boys are at that age, they're like 9 and 6, where they just every moment of the day they are chirping at each other. They're like they're arguing, elbows punching. That's at that. They're arguing about, no, that's my water bottle, everything. And so I was dropping them off this morning, and I was at school, and I got them out of the car, and I kissed them, said, "Hey boys, have a good day," because they go to the same little Christian school. And then Mason, my little one, stops dead in his tracks. He started, he's wait, daddy. And he goes, "Hold on, I got to grab something." And he's like, "Okay." I opened the car. He climbed across the seats and grabbed, and he had like 75 cents in his little cup holder in his car seat. He grabbed his little 75 cents. He goes, "Okay, sorry, I had to grab this." I'm like, "Okay, cool. Why?" He goes, "Oh, because my school's raising money for Ukraine."
Aww.
And I thought to myself, and I called Sarah on the ride on the way to the gym, and I said, "Babe, I think sometimes there's little moments in our life that just remind us that we're doing okay."
Totally.
That at the end of the day, we're doing good. We're helping, we're moving towards our goals. And Colleen, I just want to say this content today has been fantastic. I really appreciate it. I know you and I have been talking a lot, just as far as what I can do to support you in your office and get things going. Can't wait to get into the top 5 and get promoting and doing your thing as you've been doing all along. I know we have an awesome weekend this weekend in Orlando. Looking forward to seeing you and your team down in Orlando. But if everyone can take their phones, computers, whatever off of mute, say thank you to Colleen. I thought today was fantastic. Great way to finish this week. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Colleen.
All right, Colleen. Have an amazing day. All right, everybody.
All right, bye, guys.
Thanks so much. Bye. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.
Bye.